Welcome back. Half of the new Mario Cuomo Bridge is open and the other half should be ready for traffic next year. But what will it cost to cross it once rates go up, and they're expected to by 2020? Well, don't ask the task force set up to figure that very question out, because it has never met. And one of its members is a dead guy. The Journal News and Fios One investigating this, and here's Fios One's Ray Ramundi.
With the joy and spectacle of the opening of the new Mario M. Cuomo Bridge, now comes overwhelming angst, the worry of how much it will cost to cross the almost $4 billion bridge once the toll freeze ends 3 years from now.
The tolls have been a constant source of questions that I get constantly. It's like one of the top 3 questions that I get. So I started looking at this a couple of months ago.
That's Journal News transportation reporter Matt Coyne, who's delving deep into a Thruway Authority toll task force. The advisory committee, created back in November of 2015, the 7-member panel's task: review toll rates, potential commuter discount options. Monthly meetings were supposed to be conducted with the public's input. Those findings were to be reported mid-year of 2016.
I've been contacting them and sending them letters and calling them to ask them to convene.
Fios One was there when State Senator David Carlucci complained about not hearing from the task force in December of 2016, 9 months after he received this letter from the Thruway Authority, promising the task force would consider a, quote, Rockland and Westchester discount program and report task findings by the end of 2016. Those promises never happened, and until this day, no meeting, no work, no public input.
They still haven't met. Why?
Well, the state says, and they say that because the tolls were frozen in 2016 until 2020, there's no use in meeting because they might have obsolete information by the time that they make their findings.
Joan McDonald.
Hi, Joan. My name is Matt Coyne. I'm a reporter with the Journal News.
In fact, Matt Coyne has talked with several members of the task force, our cameras capturing a phone call he made to task force member Joan McDonald.
There's nothing to worry about. The tolls are frozen through 2020, and when the assessment is made, it will be fair, and we'll look at all the options.
The current toll freeze of $4.75 to cross the span, all paid for by a $1 billion stabilization fund, included in the 2015-2016 state budget. But despite the current toll freeze that is now in place, there is still great concern, especially from the New York State Comptroller's Office, who projects that the New York State Thruway Authority will be almost $50 million in debt by the year 2020. In fact, last year, the state comptroller sent this letter to the Thruway Authority, saying the state agency had not shared a, quote, continued lack of critical important information relating to an overall plan of finance. And the comptroller's office was severely concerned on, quote, how the cost of the project will affect toll payers and taxpayers both now and in the future. South Nyack Mayor Bonnie Christian agrees. Is there some concern knowing that this advisory panel still has not met almost 2 years after the committee was supposed to be formed?
I would say there's a big concern not only for Rockland County folks and South Nyack residents, but anybody who is coming down from the Thruway.
Dominic Cochera with Reclaim New York, a nonprofit organization focusing on government oversight and transparency.
They want to keep on kicking the can down the road. And when you look at the timelines, it's pretty clear that Albany's priorities are in the wrong place and politics are coming up to the surface.
Whether it's politics or not, what can't be argued is this crossing accounts for over 20% of the revenue for the entire 560 miles of the state thruway, begging the question as to whether public input and this task force will even put a dent as to how much you will pay come 3 years from now. Ray Ramundi, Fios One News.
Thank you, Ray. Now, the Thruway Authority says there is no immediate need for the task force to meet because they say the authority created a fund to hold tolls at the current rate for a couple more years. Now, you can read the Journal News special investigation right now on LOHA.com, and the full story, it will appear in the Journal News this coming Sunday. Coming up next, I sat down with the Journal News reporter who's been digging into this story. We'll have that conversation after this quick commercial break.